Hello everybody, welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back and I have an interesting video for you today. Today in this video I want to talk about this wound right there, that guy. But before I talk about that wound, that cut, I want to talk about an experience that I had. A lot of you that watch my videos know that I did the Pathfinder Phase 1 certification this year, and I learned a lot of information on that course. Now, when I would go out and do my videos on that course, I took my daughter with me, and we had some great quality time together. She really enjoyed it just as much as I did. So a lot of times she would come home from school, we'd pack up the car and we'd drive out to the woods, and I'd practice my training and we'd film some videos. And even though I was doing the training for myself, she benefited a lot because she learned, you know, by being right next to it for so long. So it was great. So back to the wound. You know, a buddy of mine and my daughter and I, we went out south of town here. We just got back last night and we camped for 3 days. It was cool. We drove in. There was a kind of a campground kind of area. It had bathrooms. No running water, but it was a nice area. There was water right there, and there was some pine trees and stuff. But the downside of that area, you didn't have to pay or anything, but the downside of that area was that there was no firewood. The wood was picked clean, because I'm guessing a lot of people hit that area and they pick every piece of wood that they can find on the ground. So a buddy of mine decided we wanted to go get some firewood. So we drove up the canyon. Drove out of the canyon basically about a half a mile, and we found some nice juniper trees and pine, and I wanted juniper because I was going to be doing some cooking over the fire. I needed a good hardwood that made good coal. So we went up there and I had this piece of juniper, I don't know, it was probably about this big around, maybe 2-3 inches in diameter, and I leaned it against the hitch on the car and I stomped on it, and the piece broke and it flipped up. Boom, it hit me upside my head right there. Okay, now you're probably wondering, why are we talking about this cut? You know, what's the significance of it? What's the importance of the cut? Why are we talking about this? Well, the reason we're talking about it is because, for one, as soon as it happened, I reached up. My first reaction, I reached up and I touched it. I looked at my fingers. I was bleeding pretty good. It's kind of embarrassing, honestly. And my buddy, he's like, dude, what happened? You know, he's kind of laughing at me, having a good time about it. He wasn't making fun. We were both having fun. I knew that I wasn't dead. You know, I knew I got my bell rung pretty good. But so we were giggling. So back to the Pathfinder Phase 1 training. Here's what happened. I had a compass in my pocket. Right? So I pull out my compass, and one of the requirements for Phase 1 was that your compass had to have a signal mirror or a mirror on it. So just like I talked about in that Phase 1 training, which you'll see shortly, I'm just finalizing up those videos for those of you that are waiting for that. But back to the compass, that was a requirement. So it was great because I pulled out my compass, I opened it up, and I was able to look at my wound. So right there, that moment, right there, I realized that the Phase 1 training had already benefited me right then and there. So then we go back to camp after getting the wood. I put a little bit of toilet paper tissue on it, you know, like a napkin from McDonald's or something like that I had in the car, and I just kind of stuck it on there, and it stopped the bleeding temporarily. So I knew that when I got back to camp, I wanted to wash it and clean it up. So to make the long story short, we finished loading the firewood. We go back to camp. My daughter sees me and she says, oh my God, what happened? You know, because it had already bled through the McDonald's wrapper or whatever it was, the paper towel, for the lack of a better description. It had already bled through, probably because my heart rate was up because I was cutting wood and stuff like that. So I told her, I said, well, I just got a nick from a piece of wood. And she said, hang on, I'll be right back. She came back like within maybe a minute, and she was going to doctor it up. So she had a wet wash rag, clean water. She had some pine sap, and she had a mullein leaf. I was like, okay, cool. So she washes it up, sticks the pine sap in it. Now the sap that she collected was in the consistency of like honey. It was that kind of sap, not the hard stuff that's solidified. So she packs it full of sap, which for those of you who might not know, pine sap has a natural antiseptic quality. So she packs it full of pine sap, and then she cuts out a little piece of the mullein leaf the same size as the wound and puts that on it. Then she got her knife and she used the spine of her knife to get some shavings of wood to basically make sawdust. She took a pinch of the sawdust and packed that around the wound so that when I touched it, which I didn't touch it much, but that way if I was to touch it, I wouldn't get my hands all sticky. So the sawdust kind of kept the thing from being sticky. And that was my Band-Aid. So again, you're probably wondering why this big old story about this little wound and this little incident. Well, the Pathfinder Phase 1 system didn't just benefit me and my skill set. It benefited my daughter, you know, because now that benefit actually from her knowledge comes back to me because she took care of me. And also my buddy that was there with us, now he learned by watching this happen. So now he has a new skill and a new understanding, and all of this wouldn't have happened had I not done the Phase 1 training. So that's what this video is about, is how proud I am of her for knowing exactly what to do in this situation. Granted, it wasn't like a life or death thing or anything like that, but it was still a proud moment for me to know that she took care of me like that. So anyway, guys, I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my story, my experiences. Please feel free to leave your comments down below. Like this video, share this video. Thumbs up, please. And until next time, have a beautiful day. Now, once again, back to the Phase 1 training videos. Those are coming soon, real soon. I just got to finish finalizing some things up. I think you're going to enjoy that series. Thanks for watching. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.